God, oh God.
Boy.
I've been working all year, I just got my check. I'm about to spend it all on me. I'm worth it. Yeah. Hold up. Tell me what you say. Pull up. Swerve. Watch these freak. Watch them say what up, though, when you see me in the street. Good.
What's up, everybody? It's the NFL Wildcard Recap Show with two depressed people and Carl. I'm Noah Taborda, here with Jake Liger, and I already said Carl, so we'll go to the non-depressed person first to brighten the mood. Carl, how are you doing?
Well, I'm depressed, so I feel like that kind of kills it.
Wait, you're depressed? Oh, yeah, you're depressed, too.
Sports.
Everybody's depressed. Everybody's
Not about
depressed.
football, but basketball stuff.
Dude, you're a Vikings fan, though. You're used to being depressed. This is new for
Oh,
us.
Jake, stop making the dick. Stop. Just stop.
Okay, well, everybody's depressed then on this show. So, we are going to recap all of the wildcard games. Just so you guys know, none of us were above 500 on picks. So if you guys listen to us and bet money, we apologize. Because it wasn't great. It wasn't the greatest picks. But we will now recap them, talk about them. We will not do the predictions for next week. That'll be probably later on this week. So let's get started with Indianapolis and Kansas City. Debatably the greatest comeback in NFL playoff history. So, Carl, just initial thoughts on this game.
Well, personally, I had picked Indianapolis. So, at first, watching this game, I'm feeling terrible. I'm like, oh, I missed my pick bad. Crud. What am I going to do? And then I'm like, okay, they have a chance. And then it got to the 28. I'm just like, okay, this is going to be really, really hard. They start coming back, and then T.Y. Hilton doing what I always knew he could. I've loved T.Y. Hilton for a very long time. T.Y. Hilton showing why he is a great receiver.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy game. And I think I texted you, Carl, at one point that this game was basically over. And you said, don't say that yet. And then also, Jake, you said don't jinx it. So I intentionally jinxed it, and it seems the jinx has worked. Jake, what were your thoughts on the jinxing and how this game went?
In the spirit of Silver Linings Playbook, the juju was off this weekend. And I can prove so by just simply stating the fact that the Packers lost. To be honest, I thought this was a very appropriate way for the Colts to win this game. In the first half, they were the Colts that lost to Kellen Clemens at home by 30 and gave up 40 points to the Arizona Cardinals. But then in the second half, they played like the team that beat the Seahawks and the Niners and the Broncos. So it all seemed to come together for them, but it didn't hurt that the Chiefs had 5 guys go down. You had Niall Davis, you had Jamal Charles, Donnie Avery, Brandon Flowers, and Justin Houston was really the final big blow for them. I mean, you just got to feel so badly for them. Andy Reid's time management was poor once again. But Kansas City's going to be such a dangerous team next year. After a game like this, no, they're going to be back for more. They're going to make a deep run next year, I feel. And kudos to the Colts. Great comeback for them. They got their advantages. They saw their opportunities, and they took them. And they were the team that did deserve to win this game at the end of it.
Yeah, and to all those people who want to put an asterisk next to it now and say, look, the Chiefs didn't have the players. Well, yeah, they didn't. But either way, as an NFL team, you have to be prepared for anything. And to play defensively how they did, even without some of their best players, look, they lost Justin Houston during the year. They lost Holly for a little bit. They've lost all of these players during the year, but they never had a game where they let up 35 in the second half like this, where they get absolutely torched. So, sure, offensively you can say, look, we lost our best playmaker, then we lost his backup. And you can say, look, obviously that's going to take away from us. But the defense, honestly, they played with injuries for a lot of the year. It's really disappointing to see the Chiefs go out this way. And I agree, next year they will be better. First year with a coach, I've got to say the Eagles and the Chiefs, first year with coaches, that's very impressive how they came in and succeeded. Unfortunately, both of them are out. And, I thought it was a really, really, really good game. It was honestly like I was almost sweating there, and of course I picked the Colts as well, and the Colts, that's really just great job, and it's a really important thing to know how to do. If you go down, you can't give up, and the Colts never did it. And then of course after the game, Chuck Pagano saying, we decided to give them an extra touchdown just to be nice, but it really didn't matter. The Colts, phenomenal. They went on a roll, and momentum is so important, and they took the momentum for themselves. So, anything else you guys want to add to this game?
Maybe Carl's analysis?
I have one thing to say. This is just a straight-up thing at Jake. Jake, do you remember once telling me that Indianapolis, I believe you told me this maybe a week early on.
I told you this in week 2. I know exactly.
You told me that at least week 3. You told me that the Colts would not make the playoffs.
Oh, no, I did not say.
Yes, you did.
Yes,
you
did.
The Colts would not make the playoffs.
I agree. I think you did. I think you did too, Jake.
Did I say the Colts would not make the playoffs? Oh, yes, this is correct. This is correct. I'm sorry. It's very discouraging when you lose to the Dolphins at home.
Yeah, no, that was also the game where you told me that Indianapolis would never lose at home. So, you know what? You go up and down, Jake.
Excuse me. You picked Houston to be in the Super Bowl. You can't take shots.
You can't use that for every single thing.
I absolutely can. And I will continue to do so.
Okay. Well, I have one more question. So after this game, guys, do you think that the Colts have what it takes to possibly make a Super Bowl run? And I'll start with Jake.
You think I'd learned my lesson by now? No. Defense still wins championships. Look, they still gave up 44 points to the Kansas City Chiefs. And next week they face the Broncos. Now look, they could beat Denver. They could find a way. I just don't see it. Again, I still fail to see that this team is consistent enough. Are they hot? Sure. But 2 of their last 4 wins have come against the same team. Of their last 4 wins, none of them are now playoff teams still alive in the playoffs. Well, obviously. So, I'm going to say of course there's a chance. This is the NFL playoffs. But I don't see it happening, to be quite honest.
Okay, and Carl, what are your thoughts on Indianapolis Super Bowl chances?
All right, obviously it's hard to see the performance they had against the Chiefs and love it looking forward. But they only gave up 13 in the second half. This is it. Obviously with a team of 2 halves, and if they can be consistent in a single game, I think they can do this. As Jake said, you can see 2 different teams. But a hot team is more important than a good team sometimes in the playoffs. And, this is a team that's beaten Denver already this season. And, I believe that they have the ability to make a deep run. I think they can beat Denver. I'm not sure they will, but I think they have a very legitimate chance against Denver.
Yeah, for Colts fans, this is very, very, very important because if they win this game, really, it truly validates deciding not to go with Peyton and deciding to stick with Andrew Luck. Because, sure, a regular season win is big, but a postseason win, knocking Peyton Manning out of the playoffs in a year when many pick him to win it, possibly, that would just be gigantic. And I think they still can do it. Honestly, and you're right, Jake, they are a team that is played as, sometimes playing on a level that is impossible to match and sometimes playing on a level that you would say, really? Is this really a good team? But when it comes to the top teams, Kansas City, a team that you, by the way, Jake, said was going to make it farther than Denver.
This is correct, and I will stand by that.
They defeated them. A game against Seattle, who is, right now, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL. I don't necessarily think they will win it. They might, though. San Francisco, not the greatest performance, in my opinion, tonight, but it was a great effort by both teams. And Denver, when it comes to the best of the best teams, Indy shows up. And I think they have a good shot of making it. It is going to be really difficult. It's a tough road, but I think they have a shot. Any last words, or can we move on to the next game?
Just one last thing. I think the way the Colts win is if the other team gets hit with some key injuries. We shouldn't overlook the Chiefs, and also we shouldn't overvalue this Colts win. We still have to keep in mind that they won by 1 against a decimated Chiefs team at home in the playoffs. Fell behind by 20. If they fall behind by 28 against the Broncos or the Patriots and on the road, fat chance that they come back. But I mean, they surprised me before. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves when it comes to this Colts team.
Carl?
My last word is I think that Jake is vastly undervaluing this win. This Colts team showed resilience. Yes, they cannot go down by 28 to Peyton, I agree, but I don't think they will. I think this Chiefs team is going to learn from this and come out very strong next week.
Yeah, I agree with you, Carl. I think that overvaluing would be to say now that they are automatically going to win the Super Bowl or that they are clearly the best team in the NFL. But I think the valuing correctly is saying, look, they were down by a lot, and they showed that no matter how much they're down, they will keep playing and they can win it. And, I'm impressed by this. It was a great game, and good luck to the Chiefs next year, and good luck to the Colts next week. So we're going to move on to the night game, which was basically just as thrilling, not as high scoring, but it was still a great game. And the Saints knocked off the Eagles in Philly. Jake, thoughts on a Saints win away from home?
We learned a valuable lesson, or at least I did. And I look back on it, and I'm going to ask myself, what was I thinking? Why did I pick Nick Foles to beat Drew Brees in a playoff game? I should have seen this coming. I should have known better. The quarterback position is still the most important position in football. And I completely overlooked Mark Ingram here, who came up with nearly 100 yards. And even though Brees had his picks and did struggle in the others, they still found a way to win. And in a way, I think that's even better for the Saints than had they blown out and Brees lit on fire. Because now they know that even if Brees is not fire, that they can afford to throw an interception or two, they can still come away with a playoff victory like this. I underestimated that, and that was clearly a bad move by me. They're a very dangerous team, and round 2 between Saints Seahawks, that's going to be an exciting game. That's going to be a lot better than what we saw the first time around. This team is going to be pumped.
Okay, Carl, you also picked the Eagles, and what are your thoughts after this really tough-fought game?
That was I'm not sure if exactly a hard game to watch, but I really did think, especially watching this game in the second half, that the Eagles would pull through with the win. The last drive by Nick Foles this season, he threw a touchdown pass. Nick Foles was not great, but he threw 2 touchdown passes, no picks, and he was solid 23 for 33. I don't blame Nick Foles. I think Brees definitely didn't win this game, so I don't get where Jake's going on that point. What I look to see that really hurt this Philly team is you got to look at the yards in this game. Yards don't mean points, but New Orleans put up 434, Philadelphia 256. That is a huge gap. That's a lot more than 2 points, you would assume. And Philadelphia, a team that normally is putting up, this is a team that puts up over 400 yards most games, under 3. The Philadelphia offense could not get going against a weak New Orleans defense. It really does come back to the question of whether or not this Philadelphia offense is, I guess, good enough in big games. It's not coming back to Nick Foles, though, because he wasn't awful, and that's the thing. It's hard to say there's one guy on this team that really lost this game. So that's my big point, is what happened to the Philadelphia offense.
Yeah, and both of the interceptions were in Philly territory, so it's not like his turnovers really were putting them in an awful spot. But you're right. It's a gigantic difference in yardage that you'd think would be a significant amount. So for that, I think the Eagles did a good job hanging around, though a lot of it can be